We're going to tie a Stillwater or Hinged Stillwater Nymph. Start with a Daiichi 1110 17/0 white thread by Uni. Bring the thread to the back to the bend of the hook. Tie in a bundle of olive Marabou. Right at that point, wrap it up to the front. It's like everyone else, my Marabou rolls on me. So I ease off on the tension, bring it up to the front, trim, and then start wrapping back. Position it properly and then bind it to the hook. I just want to keep the Marabou at the top as much as possible. You see it's quite a bundle. I just like the movement of this fly in the water. I've got another piece of olive Marabou that I'm going to use as a backstrap. I'm just tying it in right now. It's about half the size of the tail section. Now I've got also now is a piece of, I'm going to tie in a piece of Grizzly Hackle in burnt orange. Tie it off. I'm going to create a loop, dubbing loop, and use Hare's mask in natural or dark. Natural or dark, I'll even use olive. Create the loop out of this 17/0 thread. I like this dubbing because it's really spiky, and I like it to really hang out there. Creates a really buggy look, and I'm using 10 times what I should be using if I was doing just a normal dubbed body. So I'm just trying to create that really bushy effect, along with when I palmer the hackle through it. I'm just creating the dub. If you're interested, I'm using Petty Jean's dubbing tool. I like it mainly because it's lightweight and I have it. So it doesn't have to be any special dubbing tool. Anything will do. I'm just twisting it now to create the brush, the dubbing brush. You see how spiky it is? And thick. I'm going to wrap it up into the front once I've created this brush. I'll even go so as far as to take a dubbing brush and brush it out some. I'm just twisting it some more. Now I'll roll it all the way up to the front. You can see I get a little space behind the eye. I like a little bit of space there, mainly because I need a spot when I pull my backstrap over the top. Let me just work this up to the front. You see how buggy this thing looks, how bushy it is. That's if there's a difference between this and Denny Rickards fly, that's where this changes. It loosening up there, that's definitely pilot error. That's not the vise. Don't blame the vise. And trim off, tie off. I'm going to take my burnt orange Grizzly Hackle and bring it off to the front. Just palm right through this hare's ear. Don't need too many wraps. I like to go 4 or 5. Trim off the hackle, tie it off, clean up around the eye of the hook a little bit. You see I'm putting quite a bit of pressure on the hook, and that thread is not breaking. It's just a matter of getting used to it. Now I'm cleaning off. I've trimmed the top and the bottom. So just basically the hackles on the sides. I'm going to take my strap, cleaning around the eye right now. You get a chance to buy a pair of these nippers. They're convex shape instead of concave. They're used for doing the wraps on the guides on bamboo rods and then trimming the thread to the quick. Really clean cut. Take my thread, trim off. I'll whip finish. I don't use head cement very often. A buddy of mine a long time ago told me if I did 6 wraps with a whip finisher, I wouldn't need to use any head cement. So I do 3 and then I do another 3. Usually. This time I just did 3. And I'm going to go back in, trim a little bit more, and put the marker to that thread. The reason I need that cleared is so I get a good wiggle on this abdomen section of the fly. And just to give you a look to color it. Now I'm going to take another hook. This is a 2457 in a size 16 with a 2.4 millimeter gold bead. Start my thread off, and I leave about an eye space there, and what I'll do is I'll take a piece of melted 30-pound mono, and it becomes the eyes for my fly. It also becomes helps my anchoring my tippet for the back hook. What you saw there was a 30-pound piece of mono. I crimped it in the middle and then melted it with a flame, and that becomes my eyes. And I just figure 8 it through there and just wrap it on. I'm going to push my bead up and come underneath it and push up the bead in one loop. Now I'll take a piece of 3X Tippet fluorocarbon and I'm going to crimp it in 2 places. See that first crimp? Just leave a little nub, and then the second crimp about 3/16 of an inch. And what I'm going to do is match up those 2 flat spaces, and create a loop. And matching those 2 flat makes sure I get a really, really firm loop. Also helps me to bind it to my hook. See, I snuck it underneath the bead a little bit. Now I'm taking my abdomen section that I created earlier. I'm going to string it through it and bring that fluorocarbon up over the top and create my loop. Now you see how I pulled it over and you can still see the flat section? I make one loop, pull on the abdomen until the flat sections match up. That becomes my hinge, and then see how I get that nice little loop, but I also get that those 2 pieces, those crimp spaces are matched up. That gives me a good hinge. So I took it over the top of the eyes, underneath the eye, and then back over, and then wrap back to the back. And what that does is put all the pressure onto the hook and not onto the fluorocarbon. And trimmed it off. I'm going to take a piece of medallion sheeting. This is, I believe, olive brown or hopper olive. Oh, right now I'm taking just a Sharpie, black Sharpie, and then a dab of UV nonsense for my eyes. I do this now because it gets too messy when I have it all, the dubbing and everything else put in place. Hit it real quick with this laser that I got from Deer Creek. This thing rocks. Less than 2 seconds. Now here's that medallion sheeting. It's either hopper olive or olive brown. It's not like the new stuff they've come out with. This is the old stuff. Now I've got a little clip filled with CDC and some light olive UV ice dub, just a little bit, and I'm creating a brush. It just gives a little bit of sparkle. The CDC really just moves in the water. Even when the fly is not moving, it just creates all kind of life and gives it movement, even when the fly physically isn't moving itself, but the CDC will. Now as I wrap right behind the bead, I pull the fibers back to clear that. Now I'm going to take my medallion sheeting, pull it over the top, and tie it off right behind the eye. That's what that extra little space is for. Whip finish. Not so many rasps because I'm going to put a little bit of UV nonsense over the top of it. Trim with those nippers again. Then I'm going to trim the medallion sheeting. Put a little marker. That was just for the thread, the whip finish thread. That's UV nonsense. Hit it with a light. Basically, it's done. Just cleaning off some of the area. And that's that laser again. It's a little bit thicker, so I shine it more in 2 seconds. I'm going to take the fly off, trim off that back hook, and put it back into the vise so that you can see what it looks like finished. And that's my hinged aggravator. The fly originated from Denny Rickards